Okay. Just getting everything set up here. Get some pictures, guys. Well, finally getting the, looks like our internet and Facebook is working. Had quite a problem with that the other night. Gotta get some more stir sticks here. Okay. Oh. All right, welcome, welcome. Say hi, let me know you're on. I know I'm kind of doing a spontaneous live today. I had the time and I was like, grab it while I could, so. All right, what we're gonna do, it's a little different. We're not gonna do a tumbler tonight, so a little something different. I thought everybody would kind of enjoy the refreshing change. So be sure to say hi so I know who's on. So what we're going to do is an 18-inch round. This is an 18-inch by 1-inch pine round, and I've primed it. Basically, I use the same stuff I would if it was on a tumbler, and so it's just a nice primer, a couple of coats of primer on the top. So because it's wood and I've sanded it, the grain is open. So if I didn't prime it, you have a couple of problems that might happen. One would be through the resin, you might see some of the wood grain, and I don't want that. And hey Tracy, welcome. And the other reason I prime it is so that it keeps the resin from seeping through too much of the wood. So we want to keep it on the surface, okay? If it has knot holes or something, sometimes it'll seep through those knot holes if you haven't treated it. Learn the hard way. So I primed it, and then because it's a piece of wall art that's going to hang on the wall and or be used as a, it could be used as a kitchen, oh, what do you call those silly things? Lazy Susan? Because I've sold a few of those this size too. You want the back clean. So the way I do that is I use my old Vaseline, okay? And I go and I take the Vaseline and I put it about 1 inch wide across the base of the bottom, around the lip of the bottom, okay? And that keeps the resin from sealing to it, which means when it's all dry and everything and I'm done, I can flip it over, take my little paint chipper tool here, and just scrape it right off. They pop off like popcorn. Hey Cindy, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Oh good, Tracy. Well, we all get bored, right? I mean, that's part of why I like doing art stuff. I like getting into different things. I started out painting, and I went away from it for a while to do cups, and now I want to go back to some of it. So, and what encouraged me was they had a sale on the round, so I was like, yep, it's time. So I figured everybody might enjoy seeing me make one of these. And I've sold several of them. I don't have one for a show because I didn't keep it. So it's kind of funny. They go pretty quick. This is a good size, I think, for people. It hangs nice on the wall if you want to put it on the wall. And like I said, I've also sold them as Lazy Susans. Very functional art on the center of the table. So I love it. I love doing it. So I figured I could share. So what we have is, this is a bigger project. So we're going to have a bigger amount of resin. So I have my larger cup. Okay. I buy these off of Amazon. These are... I get 2 sizes. This is the, what is this? 16 ounce, basically 16 ounces on there. And it gives you all the different measurements. And what these are is, if you had different resins, like we have the 1-to-1, which is this first column here. If you had a 1-to-1-to-2 resin, it would show you how to do those mixtures here, the lines. So that's what those different measurements are there. But we're only focused on a 1-to-1 because I have a part A and a part B. I use Mass Resin off of Amazon. They are out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and I have really been very pleased with this. It's a tabletop resin, and I've been extremely pleased with how it dries and cures. Very clear and very, very, very low smell. I don't smell it when it's liquid, so that was also a huge bonus over Pro Marine and stuff, because I've used a ton of them. Okay, so before I mix my resin, let's talk about what we're going to put into it to create the piece of art. All right. So like with your cups, I do have Mica powders that I bought off of Amazon. No real name brand, just little Chinese labels. Okay, mica powders are pretty natural. They're used to make soaps, to color candles, things like that. So you can even use these in airbrushing if you mix them in with an airbrush medium. Okay, so they have a lot of uses. So I'm using those. I also have pigment powders. Now pigment powders and mica powders don't look too different, right? Let me put them up in front of the camera here. They don't look too different from each other, so you might be asking me, okay, Jean, what's the difference? If you're not familiar, the mica powder, and I'll show you. Okay, the mica powder is a little bit more dull, okay? I mean, it's pretty, and it shines real nice in the resin, but just to look at that, it's dull. Yep, there you go. And then the pigment powder has a sheen. Let's see if it'll show in this light. Okay. And basically, so when you're using them, you know, this one might show better. Let me see, it's a little wider mouth. This is another pigment powder, so you can see the sheen a little better on that one, I think. So they're a little shiny, a little sparkly. You know, the pigment powders have that sheen to them. Yeah, there you go. That one shows better. You know, than your mica powder. So they also serve a purpose that way. You can use them for those design, different aspects, different looks and feel to your art. Okay. So we're using those. We're going to use what I call, or what is called Pigment Paste, and I go with JustResin brand. They're out of Australia, but they do have a sale through the United States, so you're not paying that exorbitant shipping. And I really like them. And what this is it's mixed with the part A of your resin. Okay, it's mixed with part A of your resin, so it's a pigment paste. It's actually a paste with the color in it. And it goes straight, you don't do anything different. You just put a little bit of this, a little dollop of this into your mixed resin, and you're all set to go. That's your color. All right, so I have several of those. And the same thing with the white. It's a pigment paste as well, just a different brand. I got this one on Amazon. And let's see, oh, and a couple of acrylic paints. So I'm using, I love this green, sea green, and an aqua. And again, very little bit, like a dollop on the tip of your small popsicle stick. You don't need much acrylic paint. It's a water base, so you don't want to put a whole lot in your resin. Okay? A little goes a long way in terms of the colorant you're adding to your resins. And then the next thing you do for prep is you want to make sure that your board and whatever you're painting on is level, okay? Because if it's not, your resin's going to run right off. So you're used to, hey Denise, so you're used to having your cup turning, right, and keeping your resin level that way, but this is flat, so there's nothing turning. So in order for it to cure evenly, you want to make sure it is level, all right? So that's important. That's part of your prep. Oh, you're in DeLand. Welcome, neighbor. Going to the art fair in South Daytona. Very cool. Not to sell, just to browse. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to look in that. Can you send me the link information on it? That'd be great. Yeah, so so my hope is, if it comes out the way my vision has, at one point I thought I'd do some sky, but I'm not going to do any sky. So the whole thing is going to be an ocean, the ocean water. I'm going to put in waves, and when it's dry, so I'm going to have dark up at the top, and I'm going to have lighter towards the shore in the front. And when it's dry, then I have images that I'm going to either paint on or put on, which is a dock. So the dock will come from the front purview over here, and it's got a little house on the end. And then I'm going to put birds, seabirds, pelicans, things like that. And then I'm going to airbrush some seagrass along the edge of the front. Okay, so that's the vision for this piece. So for now, for the resin part, I have to get it to look like an ocean. Hey, Lisa, welcome. So happy y'all could join. Thank you, Denise. Okay, so we're going to start out. It's been a while since I've painted again, and I'm trying to remember my quantities for my resin. I'm going to start out with 3 ounces of each part, because I have to break it out into these, and I have to cover an 18-inch round. All right, so it might be too much, and if it is, I have a mold standing by that I can add to it, because you don't want to waste it. No wasty. And I'm getting to the point where I need to order some more resin, so I'm kind of hoping that Minnesota slows down the winter time and I can safely order my resin. Alright. So just like with your measuring cups, you want to make sure that you're looking at your measurement evenly across, because if you're looking at it from above, you're getting a slightly different view, and it's not going to be on the mark. Alright, so 3 of each, 1-to-1 ratio here. Just want to wipe that off. Alright. And we want to mix. So you want to mix this very thoroughly. And I don't worry about bubbles. Bubbles come out in the process. You're going to be using the heat gun. Sometimes I use a torch. Whatever works, but for this particular brand, they recommend in the first 10 minutes you give it a couple of shots to get those bubbles out, okay? And I recommend to everybody, with no matter what resin you've purchased, take a quick minute and read through some of the fact data on it. They tell you exactly how to handle their resin. And they also usually have a fact sheet online about questions like if my resin didn't cure right, or how cold or hot can I keep my resin, that kind of thing. So every resin company is close, but they are not the same in terms of the instructions they give. So every time people ask these questions online, I always advise them to go and look at their information that they received when they purchased their resin, okay? It's always in with your box. And if it's not, you should go look online, but they always send a chemical fact sheet with it. I will, Denise. You know, this is a process, so I certainly I certainly will. I plan to. I might even do another live when I start finishing it, you know, when I do the next piece to it, because it might have more resin. Well, it will have more resin layers to it, so I can probably do another live for that. This kind of work I love. It just takes me away, and this is all I think about, and you focus on it, and so your problems just kind of melt away for the day. Sometimes longer. Sometimes, and I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I even have dreams about things I want to do creative-wise, and I just have to get it out, or I can't rest. It's kind of funny. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. But I'll envision something, and it's like, oh, I want to try that. I want to see how that comes out. And if I don't work on it or sketch it out or something, it drives me crazy. So I'm scraping the sides, getting the bottoms real good. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So how was your Tuesday? It's not hump day, so I'm not excited, but I did have half a day off today. I took my mom over to the doctor's office today, so. But we went out to lunch. We made it a nice afternoon. Found a new place to eat. That was pretty neat. All right, so now I'm just going to mix these into my resin, or my pieces here that I've already poured out for color. And you know, I divide them up based on the color, because if I know I'm going to use a lot of a particular color, then I put more in there. You can always go back and mix up some more resin, so if I didn't mix up enough, you know, then you just plan to do that. Not a big deal. And typically, the larger the project, the more often you're going to go back and create more resin mix, because you can't make too much resin at one time. It will cure before you get to it. Or it'll get stringy. Don't need a lot of white, so you're not getting a lot. Okay, these are the pigment paste over here. And for me, I like to use some green in my water, because ocean water to me has a lot of green. I use aqua. I use a couple of variants of blues. And sometimes I shift it up a little bit, you know, switch it up by putting in different blues or a different kind of green. I'm here. Ah, these cups. I was just thinking when I was putting all this stuff together, getting it ready, until something's in these cups, they're so light and they want to fall over on me. So then I was like, I need to create like an egg crate or something and just stick these in there so they stand. But until I get my resin in them. So it's little aha moments. In you go. This is a pretty blue. This is called a sapphire blue. And I can come back in the comments. I'll give you a list of the actual names, colors. This is an ink I'm going to try to use. See how it works. It's actually a Liquitex acrylic ink. So we'll see how it mixes up. I haven't used it yet. So look how pretty that comes out. That is just like lustrous. That's a pigment paste. So I get these all kind of churned together, and then I know what colors I have, and I can start putting them out there. Whoop. Cold and snowy in Ohio. Hey, Kathy. Sorry to hear that. You know, we had a chilly day today in Florida. I know you don't have any empathy for it, but we were like 80 something the other day. I actually had my air conditioner on last weekend, and this past weekend, and now 59. So, I mean, it is crazy. Crazy, man. Bike week starts next week, or this coming weekend, and so I hope it warms up for them. Yeah, Denise, you're so right. I mean, quilting, whatever it is, you're absolutely right. For Mom, the quilting does it for her. She really gets lost in her work. And that's good. I think that's healthy. Everybody needs something that does that for them. I could just spend every single minute of my day out here. I wish I could. Probably couldn't afford it. Couldn't somebody just pay me to be out here all day? That would be cool. I'm going to show you some close-ups of these colors here shortly. Let me get them mixed up. The difference between the mica powders, pigment paste, and the pigment powders. This is the acrylic paint. I used very, very little, like a very tippy tip of the popsicle stick here. And I'd rather start out with a little amount and see that it's transparent, and if I want it opaque, I can add a little bit more. You can't take it away, and it'll ruin your resin if you have too much in there. So I start with very little color. This is my pigment paste, the white. It's very thick. So what I do, I am on live right now. So what I do is I will come back in and add alcohol ink or something to thin it. Shut. That'd be my father. God bless him. He just has no clue what's going on sometimes. Okay. This is a beautiful color. Look at that. I've got a delay on my video feed, so I keep trying to see if you're seeing. Yeah, that's pretty. Just so rich. And we just keep stirring. Hi, Nanette. Welcome. If you haven't liked my Facebook page, please do. I'm trying to grow that, but it'll also let you know, you can set up the notification however you like, and it'll let you know when I go live. Because I go live off the Facebook page, and then I share it into our group, Tumblr's Resin and Art group. So if you're not in the group and you want to join, feel free to pop in there and request. We hit 500 members in the group. I am so excited. I have a goal to hit 1,000 this year, so if we're hitting 500 in March, I think we're going to make it, but I'm excited about that. And I'd love to see that same 1,000 on my Facebook page. Okay. This is a pretty green. It's kind of like a kelp green to me, but it does work pretty in the ocean. Now when you think about the ocean, you think about all the depth of color, right? You have the where it comes into the shore, it gets light sometimes, almost an aqua green. And then you get out to the deeper depths and you see the dark blues and kind of that center hue in between. So that is pretty. That's the acrylic ink. Look at that. That's really rich. Okay. So that is all mixed. I do have a little more resin in here, and that's okay. I want to wait and see if I need it on something. So what I do now, typically what I try to do, is I set things down according to the color. I want dark and light together. So then I can kind of work with it. Alrighty. I'm going to put the white aside because he's different. And he is definitely dark. Okay. Alright. And what we're going to do now, start putting it on. Yay! I know, you watch me stir. You ready? Which one do I want to start with? La 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 la. And I might put him. And this reminds me of finger painting because you do end up getting your hands in there. At least I do. I don't use the tools a whole lot. I use my hands. And I got gloves on for protection. Alright, you stay, you come. This is always a fun project to do. I was doing, like I said, painting before I got into tumblers, and I did a lot of resin painting. I really love working with resin. And then I started doing a little bit of flow art painting with the acrylic paints, kind of break up the use of some of the resin. But I still love the resin. I always went back to it. And it was kind of a natural thing for me to get into the tumblers because, again, using the resin, but you got little small pieces of art. I love it. And I love seeing people's expressions when they see it in your artwork. Doesn't ever get old. Piece of hair. Putting all the cups there for a little bit. I keep them on hand for a minute or two until I know if I need to mix more of that color. Then I'll toss them in the trash. I don't try to save these. Just little medicine cups I get. I like the size of them. This is where, you know, I don't understand Facebook. I wish we could just play music and not worry about it. I mean, you can play it for free on Pandora. Y'all still with me? So I'm just stringing the colors along. We're going to come back and we're going to manipulate them in. Like mad science. This is the acrylic ink. It's dark, so I don't want to put too much in there. I have to open my window. Hang on, guys. Getting a little warm. Can you see okay on the screen? I think I got the whole view of this in there. Hey, say hi when you come in, so I know you're on. Can't see who it is, just see a number. Feel free to share this out to people if you think they'd enjoy seeing it. I think the fun thing about resin too is you can just about use anything, any of the mediums in it, to create your palette. And I don't know too many things that you can do that with. I think it's incredible. So it really opens the door for you on your creativity. Now for those that didn't join in the beginning, I have the board prepped. I primed it just like you would your tumblers. I just use a couple of layers of primer. And then underneath I use Vaseline. I go about an inch in underneath the lip. And what that does for me is helps my cleanup. I don't have to sand all the little knobs that'll dry on the edge. I can just pop them right off like popcorn. But you have to be careful not to get the Vaseline on areas that you want the resin to stay, okay? But that is a great tool. Because it's a grease, the resin will not adhere to it. These are the lighter colors, so I'm keeping primarily down here. But I like to run them up a little bit because the water isn't all the same color. Ooh boy. I had like I said, I went out to lunch with my mom today, and it was, we went to this new place that we haven't eaten at before. Well, we had something at before during one of my art shows. They were close by, so we got their tacos, which are really good. And I ordered something like that today, and oh my gosh, they had something in there that was so hot. I mean, I was on fire. I'm not a heat person either, so it was kind of like, hello. Swallowed up my sweet tea real quick. Like sriracha hot. Alright, so that is our colors. Look at that. And I've still got my white, but that's okay because he comes on last. Just keep him stirred. Alright, so now we're going to play. And actually it's a little, let me go ahead and heat this up. Get it to move a little easier for me. Careful you don't get it too hot though, because I'll tell you, this will heat up that resin and then it gets hot. Hot for your hand. Stay. Alright, yeah. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go in the motion that I want it to look, right? Because it doesn't give streaks, but it gives a look. Okay. And I'm going from dark to light. So it starts to build that hue. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And I'm going to run the edges a little bit because I want this to roll over the edge. It's getting a little thick on me. And it will move once I start heating it up again too, so I'm not too worried about the edge right now. Just get it while I can. When I use rubbing alcohol, I always use a 90%. Less water and more alcohol is better for your resin, okay? You'll find if you use anything 50-50, it is going to mess up your resin. Not going to be happy. Stay. Okay. Alright, let me put these guys away for a minute so I don't have a problem, because I'm going to need that space. I try to keep this kind of area cleaned up so I'm not getting my hands in it, things like that, getting it on something I don't want it on. So I keep my trash can right by me. Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to take these off. We're going to heat it up. Hi Pam, no worries on the no. Hey Nanette. Yeah, snowy Ohio. Working on some beach tumblers. Cool, Christina. Hey Brenda. What am I putting? Okay, I've got an 18-inch round pine board. So it's an 18-inch by 1-inch round pine board. And get this heated up and moving. Glue bond. Where did I put my alcohol? And I left my alcohol over there. Okay. Okay, we're going to put on some waves. And we'll just work on those for now. It's a weird spot on the board. It's acting up there. I'm going to see if I can fix that. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely getting stringy. Now, a trick to these cups, if you want to keep them and reuse them, you tip them over, let them dry, and then they just peel right out. So it's an easy way to salvage. Alright, now closer up, we're going to do a bigger wave here. Can't really look up and see your chats right now. Sorry about that. I kind of get focused on this. I will catch up here shortly, so I can answer the questions that you have. This kind of thing, as you know, you have a limited time to work. Need to mix a little more white back there, I think. So this is where I kind of red the edges again. And kind of come back in there. And you want to be careful not to get into the Vaseline. Few spots it wants to pull away from my primer. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I must have had some oil on it. So, something I can fix it in the next layer. That's okay. I'm not going to freak out about it. But I just got resin all over my hand. That I try not to do. And when you're spraying and rubbing alcohol, you definitely want to make sure that you have a ventilated area, okay? Okay, just kind of taking a look here. All right, let's see. What do y'all think so far? Oh yeah, it can be any type of wood, just seal it good. You know, I just use a spray paint primer. You can use a painted primer, house paint primer, that kind of thing. Anything, really. As long as you prime your wood, or you won't be happy with it because the wood grain can show through that resin real easy. And it'll sink through in some cases. The alcohol, it disturbs the resin. So I like to use it. It helps in a couple of ways. It makes it so that it moves a little bit more too, but it also disturbs the resin. So it can give you some reactions that you like, kind of like a cell, you know, if you've done anything in the flow art world. Yeah, this top wave here. Yeah, this one I need a little bit more white, but what I'm going to do in my second layer is I'll come back and I'm going to do more of the wave action, so it'll help define those a little bit better. The first layer I try to just get the look, and then I start building on it in the second layer. Definitely pulling away from that spot. I could have used just a touch more resin, but it's going to work. Oh, let me shut this off for you. Now it's shiny. there. Oh, I guess it's coming from the other window. Let's see. Yeah, let me, you're picking up this shade. Hold on, let me shut off that light. Let me see if that's probably too dark. Okay, kind of helps a little bit. There you go. Yeah, that top wave is looking pretty cool. Thank you. It can be either, Brenda, it's going to be a wall hanging in this case. You can also make it into, oh, what do you call it? Lazy Susan. It's a good size for that. You stay. Yeah, come on over here. What do you think?
Beautiful.
I turned out the light because we were getting all kinds of shade.
Oh.
Or shadow from the lights.
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
I like that. Pretty colors. Hey, girls.
So I'm just kind of wondering if it's going to, you know, the dock will come in and it'll cover up that underneath wave, which is fine because it comes across those pilings. I mean, I've got to kind of work this one, but the center I'm not too worried about because the dock will be there.
I love that.
That top one is really cool.
Yeah.
He kind of did a disruption on me, but that worked out.
Yeah. Nice, nice.
Yeah. And Brenda, usually I sell them, but this one I think I'm going to keep because I have a spot on my wall in my bedroom. I need something. Someone keeps taking my work.
I keep taking them. I won't let her get rid of a couple of them.
Hey, Joyce. Yeah, you'll have to watch from the beginning. It was fun to do. Definitely fun to do. I like getting into these every once in a while again.
I can't take the cold air.
No, I know. I got hot. Say, go with Mimi. Go get Mimi. You want to click that light back on for me? Oh, please?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay, she's fine now. She thinks it's what time.
Come on.
It's like, you're not getting anything. I swear that dog is so spoiled. If you left it to her, she'd think every hour was street time. Yeah, there's like a couple of spots here that my resin does not, it's pulling away. So I'm guessing I got my little fingers on it probably when I had the Vaseline. So it's okay, I can keep massaging it and fix it on my second layer. It's okay. And if you needed to coat your edges, here's a trick I've learned too, because it's gravity, right? Resin will fall right off of it when it's wet. When you wait until it's thicker, it's sticky, then you can start patching your edges, okay? And it'll stay on there. So it takes a little massaging. So I usually babysit this type of piece for the first 20 minutes after I'm done working with it, and then it's pretty solid. You're not going to have any other problems. But I want to make sure bubbles don't pop up, that kind of thing. Yeah, I didn't have much runoff, that's for sure. The other thing I like to use, where did I put it though? Oh, is my torch. the or the heat gun will move your resin and your colors, and that's great for massaging or manipulating it. But this just blows the bubbles. I don't have to worry about it moving the colors and changing the manipulation anymore. So I'll give you a close-up here. The second layer is, it depends. If I like it, it'll be a clear. And what I probably will do is a clear with some white around the waves if I need to define them anymore. But yeah, otherwise I think the wave action themselves I'm pretty good with. I'm pretty happy with it. Here, let me give you a little flyover. Make sure I don't get my cord in it. There's that wave. Takes me a minute to see what you're seeing. Okay. See the lacing? That white starts to stretch out and create a lace effect, like the foam on the water. And so from my view, let's see if you got it this way. Waiting for it to catch up here. Yeah. Whoop! Oh, crap. Well, just got the foot in there. Sorry about that, guys. Gals. Accident! Wee wah, wee wah. Here we go. Don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge Minion fan. Huge! There we go. Well, that's about it. That's all I have for that. I've been finishing up cups. I've got my show on the 23rd, so I probably won't be making new cups unless I have an order between now and the show. And because I have enough for the show at this point. So that's pretty exciting too. I like being ready. So any questions about the product? Anything that you want me to answer right now? Minutes of time? Can't wait to watch it from the beginning. Yeah, Joyce. Yeah, this is a fun project. Like I said, I've done a lot of these different looks. I've done them with beach scenes, you know, where the water's coming up on the beach and the bigger waves. The largest resin piece like this I've done is a 4 foot by 6 foot. And that's probably the largest I ever want to go, quite frankly. That took my mom and I both to help get it done. And I chose a medium. It was a big piece of wood, so it was heavy. So tipping it, lifting it, you know, that was quite the project. But it came out beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. No, I haven't, Lisa. That was my next thought. You know, since I'm caught up on my cups, I can make the cup turner. So why don't I'll put in a schedule into the group. And we'll see if everybody is okay with that schedule time. If it works for everybody that wants to make a cup turner, and then we'll do a live, because I'm pretty much open now. You're welcome, Brenda, and if you have any questions, let me know. Whew, my alcohol. Thank you, Lisa. On raw ceramic, absolutely. Brenda, just crash. Sorry. Something just decided to go crash down over here. I have a couple of videos out on the Blackwell Art Corner that I did pours on lamps and wood carvings and, you know, resin. Anything resin will adhere to, you can pour on it. You just have to prep them good, right? So the ceramic, you should be fine. Just make sure it's greaseless. So wipe it down good with your rubbing alcohol and things like that. Get it prepped nice. Get the dust out of there, and then you should be fine. You're welcome, Lisa. That's great. That's great. I'm excited to always show this kind of stuff. You know, I figure we have a lot of these materials already on hand because we're doing our cups, but and I did. That's why I had so much. You know, I know you guys have seen my Mica stash and stuff like that. Matter of fact, this whole cabinet behind me is here. See if I can show you that way. Is full of media. So it's all my acrylic paints, mica powders, pigment powders, paste. You know, pretty much anything that way. Yeah, that whole cabinet back there. And it's because I was doing art and getting into cups, so I use it on all of it. Oh, Brenda, that would be exciting. Yeah, definitely. You can do some really beautiful pours on ceramic. Matter of fact, do I have one? Well, no, not really. It's in the other room, but you'll have to go back and look. I mean, you do the pour, you know, because it's vertical. You do it similar to what I did here. You just do your pour, and you might have to kind of manipulate it a little bit until it gets thicker, and it stays on. But not a whole lot. Just watch my videos. You'll see. It's really no different than what I did on the wood carvings. I did a dolphin and a pelican. You can have some fun with that. And you can do a dirty pour with resin. So what that is, I don't know if you have any insight into the flow art world, the acrylic flow art, but a dirty pour is really when you take all your different colors, like I had all these separate, and you could pour them all into one cup, layer by layer, little each at a time kind of thing, but that's called a dirty pour. And then you'd pour the whole thing out and let it run across, or the top of your ceramic. That comes out real pretty too. Now, I will say, like on the dolphin and the pelican, gravity, you know, plays a role. So it'll stretch those colors. So sometimes, you know, you get a little different color than what you anticipated because it's stretching those colors out. That's awesome. Now, you don't fire it once you have your resin on. I know you know that. That would not be good. So I think there's so much potential, you know, that you can have fun with that. Trial and error. And just take a small piece of ceramic and try it and see how you like it. Nothing's safe in this house, let me put it that way. I think there has not been a single thing that we haven't done a pour to. I mean, I did my tiles in my bathroom, and I put resin there. Let's see, we did lamps. We've done a dresser top. We've done a table. But I do stop at the toilet. I'm not doing the toilet. All right, people, I have had a good time. This was fun. Thanks for joining, and if you have any questions, I will respond back on your comments. So just leave your questions in there, or message me, or join my group. And again, if you haven't liked my Blackwell Art Corner page, please do. I'm trying to grow that community as well. Thank you again. Have a good one.